technologies, and regulations will reshape a trusted digital future. Healthcare, food, living spaces, transportation, cities, enterprises, energy, and digital trust. We believe technology is forging a brighter future.
Please take your seats. Our session is about to begin. Please take your seats. Our session is about to begin. Please take your seats. Our session is about to begin. Please take your seats. Our session is about to begin. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage our host for the next 2 amazing days, Dr. Mohammed Madkour, Vice President of Huawei Carrier Network Marketing and Solutions.
Hello, everybody. Happy new MBBF. So, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and partners, friends and colleagues, and everyone here in the room, and also those who are joining us online. Welcome to Dubai, and welcome back to Huawei's Global MBB Forum number 12. مرحبا بكم في دبي مرحبا بكم في Huawei MBB Forum 欢迎来 MBBF. So, thank you so much for giving us part of your busy schedule to attend and to share your inspiring stories, but more importantly, to celebrate with us. Celebrate this amazing era of mobile industry. Of course, we all know this era is marked by 5G, but not just because it's a traditional new generation of mobile technology? It's because its extraordinary, remarkable, and the critical role in 4 aspects: technology, society, industry, and economy. So, from Oslo 2010 to Dubai 2021, thousands of you came across our MBBF doors to enrich our industries with thousands, I would say hundreds, of innovations in all aspects of technology and business innovation. The whole world recognized that. And in Huawei, we also do recognize that. We appreciate that. You are the reason for us to innovate. We also promise you that we will continue our successful partnership. We will continue our innovation to create more values to you, to your customer, and to the whole world. But more importantly, we promise you to grow together. This is the theme of this year MBBF, but it is not just for this year. Huawei intended to grow with you all no matter what. All right, so over the next 2 days, we will hear from amazing thought leaders and industry executives. We will hear the greatest and latest about the fashion and passion of mobile industries across the whole value chain and from different stakeholders. I am personally eager and looking forward to learn and to enjoy. And just FYI, every Huawei team member always wait for 2 moments along the year. The first one is to wait for the opening of MBBF, the second one for the opening of MWC. So that tells you how excited we are. Anyhow, to start and to kick things off, let's hear from a well-known face in the mobile industry, the man who always opens MBB Forum with his inspiring, futuristic, simple, and cool words. Let's welcome Huawei's rotating chairman. Let's welcome Huawei's Ken Hu.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Mobile Broadband Forum, and thanks for joining us. For the past 11 years, this event has become a great platform to bring us together across the mobile ecosystem. And this year, we are so excited that for the first time after the pandemic, we can get so many people together in Dubai and online to discuss what we have achieved in the past few years and what we can do for the future. In the past 5 years, the biggest progress in our industry is 5G. Back in 2015, when ITU released its vision for 5G, we all had very high hopes. Today, let's take a look at where we are right now. In just 5 years, 5G has developed much faster than we expected. There are now 176 commercial 5G networks around the world and more than 1.5 million base stations. 5 years ago, we thought 5G would connect everything. The fact is, right now, there are 500 million 5G users around the world. But beyond smartphones and industrial models, we have not connected all things. 5 years ago, we thought 5G would redefine user experience. Yes, 5G is 10 times faster than 4G. And we are starting to see many exciting new applications like 5G VR and 360-degree broadcasting. But global adoption of these applications is still low. And we need more progress in areas like holograms and connected vehicles. 5 years ago, we thought 5G would redefine industries. Right now, there are over 10,000 5G2B projects around the world. However, more than 50% of these projects are in China. We have huge numbers of use cases already, but we need to build more sustainable business cases. That's where we are with 5G. We should be proud of what we have achieved together, but we have more work to do. 5G is only one part of the changes we are seeing in the world. Let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Here are some key trends that will have long-term impact on our industry. The pandemic has accelerated digital transformation by about 7 years. Cloud and AI are becoming must-haves for all organizations. Right now, 81% of enterprises use cloud-based applications. Consumer behavior has gone all online. Mobile high-definition video has become the norm. And the demand is growing for wireless home broadband, especially in the Middle East. The fourth trend is about the environment. The world is taking climate change more seriously than ever. Every industry and every organization has to embrace this initiative and make their own contribution. And our industry has an important role to play here. These trends provide many opportunities for us, but there are also some challenges. I think there are a few things we can do to get ready for them. First, our industry should get ready for XR. Why? Because more and more people are talking about the metaverse these days. This gives us a picture of how fast the digital and the physical worlds are converging. And I think one of the key technologies for the metaverse is extended reality, including AR, VR, and MR. This will see massive growth in both the consumer and the business domains. If we want to seize this opportunity, we need to prepare in several ways. We need to get networks ready. 10 millisecond latency and at least 4 giga downlink. That's the basic requirements. But right now, our networks cannot support this. Last year at Huawei, we released our goals for 5.5G, and we believe that they will help address this challenge. Beyond the networks, we also need more users. If we look at virtual reality, the tipping point is about 10 million active users per month. This will lead to explosive growth. But currently, we're not even halfway there. To reach 10 million, we have to make improvements to both headsets and content. For headsets, people want devices that are smaller, lighter, and more affordable. And for content, which is difficult and expensive to develop, as an industry, we can provide cloud platforms and tools that simplify content development and enrich the content ecosystem. These are steps we can start taking today. We all have high hopes for the 5G2B business, and we need to get ready for this as early as possible. We know it's not easy, but the opportunity is there. At Huawei, we have worked on more than 5,000 5G2B projects around the world. From our experience, we have to boost the capabilities in a few areas in order to meet the needs of diverse industrial scenarios. To start, network performance is the foundation of everything. So we need to improve network capabilities such as uplink, positioning, and sensing. Enhancing O&M capabilities is also important. From planning to maintenance, industrial scenarios are much more complex than consumer scenarios. To help, we are developing autonomous networks that bring intelligence to all aspects of 5G networks. Of course, beyond technology, there are also some intangible strengths that won't provide immediate profit, but will be key to long-term competitiveness. Carriers can build capabilities in areas like cloud services and system integration, and we can work together on telecom standards for industrial scenarios. A strong ecosystem is essential for the B2B market. It has taken longer than we expected to get ready, but we are making progress, and we have to keep moving forward. Lastly, let's get ready to go green. According to the World Economic Forum, by 2030, digital technology can help reduce global carbon emission by 15%. That's pretty incredible. On one hand, we have a great opportunity to help all industries cut emissions and improve power efficiency with digital technology. On the other hand, we have to recognize that our industry has a growing carbon footprint, and we have to take steps to improve that. Sites and data centers are the most power-hungry assets in our industry. Right now, Huawei is using new materials and algorithms to lower the power consumption of our products, and we are remodeling sites for greater efficiency. At the same time, we are using AI to optimize heat and power management in our data centers. Cutting emissions will be a major focus of our innovation moving forward. Tomorrow, we will release brand new 5G AAU that reduce power consumption by more than 30% without compromising coverage. We can do more together, and I hope we can discuss this more over the next 2 days. Ladies and gentlemen, we have seen so many changes in the past 2 years with the pandemic, technology, business, and the economy. Moving forward, as the world begins to recover, we need to recognize the opportunities in front of us and get ready for them. Get our technology ready, get our business ready, and get our capabilities ready. But most importantly, we need to move forward together. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy this year's event.
Thank you, Ken. Indeed, it's the power of collaboration and moving together that will move us forward to achieve inclusivity in technology and innovation. So when we say we're here in the Middle East, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the territory or a region that is a pioneer and leader in 5G. Not just because they started early, it's because the pace of development and the innovative services. So next speaker, I would like first to introduce Samena. Samena is South Asia, Middle East, and North Africa. Samena Telecommunication Council is an active industry organization supporting telecommunication here, and we're so happy to have them co-hosting this event for us. So thank you so much, Samena. And I'm delighted to invite to the stage the man of Samena, the CEO and the board member, who will let us know how 5G is empowering the Middle East. So please welcome Bokar Ba.
One, two, three. Excellencies, industry leaders, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, it's my pleasure to be in this 12th edition of Global Mobile Broadband Forum, And this is truly a platform that offers insight into what we may consider to be a golden decade for the mobile industry and the final decade of action for the Sustainable Development Goals as defined by the United Nations. Until 2030, and between now and then, there is a considerable progress that we need to make on multiple fronts, which includes provisioning, I would say, meaningful access to connectivity and achieving beneficial utilization of the fifth generation technology that our industry has created. I'm referring to the 5G. Congratulations also to Mr. Ken Hu, that we just heard now, rotating chairman of Huawei, and his team for building this forum to help us imagine a fully connected, intelligent world, and for the possibility that our discussion today could help catalyze for the mobile industry as well as the entire verticals that now shares the digital space. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, today the context is that there is much about 5G that we have now understood over the past few years, and Chairman Ken just highlighted quite a bit about where we stand with 5G. It's evident that there is and exists willingness among both private and public sector decision makers to make 5G a success. In this regard, maximizing the true potential of 5G and creating a foundation for beneficial real-life use case and sustainable advancement in the future should be a top priority for the industry and all of us. 5G is indeed, I would say, a transformative advancement and a door to true digital transformation and a foundation on which the next Gs will be built. At this stage, we see that mobile operators are moving ahead with 5G all over the world with much anticipation, given prevailing uncertainties around demand. Also, capturing value from 5G new use cases and enabling widespread adoption of IoT is an imperative. But it all requires intensive infrastructure investment, and I will come back to that into my presentation. Let me go to slide number, yes, I have this one. Putting prediction aside, we see on the screen that we have where are we today on the 5G, and I give the credit to GSMA. As we can see, interestingly enough, the Middle East rank among the world's very first region to adopt 5G. The region is also, to some extent, the most well-defined ICT and economic diversification vision in the world, as well as strong international coordination that has been done and led by the Arab Spectrum Management Group and implemented under the watchful facilitation of some very progressive regulatory authorities who are doing, and we should acknowledge, an exceptional work to support the private sector. And in that regard today, I would like to appreciate, to commend their contribution toward the 5G digital development. All GCC states have now launched 5G commercial services. And you know most of the operators, Etisalat Group, STC Group in Saudi, STC Kuwait, Zain Group, Omantel, Batelco, all are providing 5G commercially and starting with 5G home services. In the GCC countries, 5G availability is quite high in some countries, such as in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, UAE, and Bahrain. With regard to Oman, 5G availability, where 5G was not commercially available until the first quarter 2021, that is now quickly rising as well. And just a quick note about the speed compared to the global average 5G download. Early 2021, Saudi Arabia, for example, achieved a download speed almost more than the double, which is, if I remember, 322 megabit per second. So there is a leadership in the region on the front of 5G, not only in terms of early adoption, but also in terms of data transmission. If we look at the 5G application, especially in the healthcare verticals that I have symbolized over there, it was among the first to have matured significantly over the last year because of the COVID pandemic. But healthcare is not alone. As I want to reflect on the slide, 5G is also enabling digital transformation for the energy, the oil and gas industry by the end, with the use of IoT devices and systems like sensors, as we can see, AR, VR, robotic control, automated guided vehicles, and so forth. Security surveillance cameras as well are increasingly getting integrated with artificial intelligence and multi-access edge computing capabilities to help improve the efficacy of video surveillance system. This is just to name a few. There are many other use cases that are generating very different kind of requirement for throughput, mobility, latency, density, availability, and power. Now, experts that we have, many of you sitting here today, would agree that ultimately it's the business planning aspect of 5G that now dictate the most attention in these early years of 5G development. And 5G development, without a doubt, a highly complex undertaking, but it is what the region requires in order to be empowered for betterment. Now, for the region benefits from 5G, the investors, the telecom operators, those who are deploying the infrastructure, have to be much better incentivized. And this is extremely important for the sustainability of the ecosystem and the value chain. And for such large infrastructure investment to take place, the right drivers need to be put in place, and we'll go through it right now. So, talking about the right drivers, essentially at the highest level, government need to have economic and digital transformation visions and national strategy. Fortunately, in the Middle East, for the most part, we see plenty of well-defined visions and progressive policy approaches to materialize those visions. The GCC countries especially have made 5G technology adoption a priority as a part of their larger effort to transition from oil-dependent economies to knowledge-based digital economy. They have enabled this transformation to provide better public services and economic diversification through technology advancement via overarching socio-economic vision plans. And this vision includes the Gulf largest countries, Saudi Arabia, everybody knows about Vision 2030, and for the UAE, Vision 2021. We see the roadmap such as the 5G roadmap implemented by the TDRA, we used to know them through TRA, so the Telecom Digital Government Regulatory Authority, with collaborative cross-industry work stream, which has significantly supported the current 5G rollout. Now, I just wanted to give you a glimpse of the large-scale 5G project. Other GCC countries have identified large-scale cross-sector project based on 5G technologies to develop city neighborhoods as a high-tech hubs built on 5G technology, and that include Lusail, Neom, Masdar, etc. There has been a lot of effort put into this project, especially when we note that the initial steps toward 5G adoption began in the Middle East nearly about 8 years ago. If all of you remember, if you look at, we are in the UAE, for the case of the UAE, Etisalat, since March 2014, pioneered 5G mobile broadband establishment through an agreement with Huawei to develop 5G networks, bringing at that time the 5G plan to fulfillment at GITEX October 2016, same time, and Etisalat practically demonstrated the region's fastest trial of 5G at that time, reaching almost about 36 gigabit speed per second. And they broke that record on the next year, 2017, by announcing the fastest 5G live trial, reaching 71 gigabits per second, which is a global record in the industry at that time. So such 5G-centric endeavors in the region and the 5G movement we see are a result of both government-led initiatives and consumer-driven demand for mobile services against the backdrop of prioritized economic diversification in the Gulf states. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, very clearly the better connected part of the Middle East is striving to transform society through 5G infrastructure in the region. However, the development of 5G in MENA outside of the GCC will largely depend on macroeconomic developments, on political stability with regard to the investment, and improvement of the standard of living that would predicate, I would say, the demand stimulation. This is so because the rollout of 5G technology requires a stable state and competitive industry to develop the necessary infrastructure. The long-term benefits of 5G may seem far off in the distant future for most of the region, but even a small-scale development could still make a crucial contribution for those economies. It is also clear businesses in the Middle East that built global digital platform, of course you will understand that I'm referring to the OTTs, the internet companies, will be central to the digital economy of the region. However, the enablement of such platform requires adjusting regulatory approaches, better incentive, adopting agility and evidence-based regulation, which could include sandboxes. To account for the emerging trend within the digital ecosystem, which now increasingly houses a highly diversified group of digital consumer, and we are all digital consumer. But coming back to business planning aspect of 5G once again, 5G will be a widespread reality if we have the financial means to dedicate to it. This is at a time when we also require unlocking access to capital for ensuring universal broadband access for all, the still unconnected population in the region. I would take and refer to what has been done by the ITU and the CITC in Saudi Arabia. Connecting humanity requires $428 billion. Africa itself, $109 billion. So the challenge is double. Developing 5G and connecting the still unconnected across the humanity and for us in the region. Now, to share with you also, everybody has heard about the Broadband Commission, and I was referring to unlocking access to capital to tackle the financial resource gap for building digital infrastructure, which can empower the Middle East and any region for that matter. Massive public-private efforts are required, but we cannot continue in the way that we have done up to now. Change is required at least on two essential fronts. The first one should be reality-based policy and evidence-based regulation. The second front would be uniting to tackle the challenge of building new infrastructure, including 5G network. Both of these frontiers of change lie at the heart of the work of the UN Broadband Commission working group labeled the 21st Century Financing Model, which has centered its works, and I have got the privilege to chair this working group, on the question on how a wide spectrum of stakeholders within the digital space can unite to tackle the challenge of developing new broadband infrastructure, upgrading existing infrastructure, the move from 3 to 4, 4 to 5G, and cultivating relevant digital content and services for widely unconnected population and contribute in a sustainable and predictable way. I am happy to share with you on the screen today that the working group had produced essentially 4 key strategic recommendations. We call them the 4 pillars that can inspire future ICT growth, including the 5G development. These recommendations were released on September 19 during our annual meeting, and it is contained in an executive summary, and I would sum it as follows. The first pillar would be to broaden the base of contributor, essentially anyone who wants to enjoy the digital, I would say, development should contribute into it. Number 2, earmarking the proceeds from the sector participant to be spent. What does it mean? The proceeds received by the government from the stakeholders should be re-injected back into the development of broadband economy. You've heard about the Universal Service Fund. Across the world, we may have about 40 countries. They don't have a USF, but for the existing one, we should reform not only the USF, but also the disbursement process. The fourth pillar, which is a new idea, is creating an international fund. Remember, I was referring to the $428 billion, and that fund could be a new one or hosted by an existing multilateral development bank and alongside with the UN agencies for the coordination. But the idea is clearly for risk mitigation and enlarging the investment that could come through different mechanisms, investing, financing, or funding. So these are the 4 recommendations, and the executive summary is available. We can send it to you. Ladies and gentlemen, with this recommendation put forward, the region's industry stands ready and committed to supporting government, policymakers, regulators to achieve common goals and close the digital divide while making beneficial use of 5G. And I would like to conclude by saying, almost at the end of 2021, it is time to reflect. And this gathering, this mobile broadband forum, is a great help in this regard. I would like to congratulate the Huawei team. Is a great help to focus our effort on building better communication services that should be inclusive, that should provide enhanced digital experiences for the customer, that should increase productivity in terms of business, and foster, and that is very important, sustainable investment. We need to expand that scale of beneficial utilization across all sectors. 5G success will be done with all sectors of all regional economies, and we need to be inclusive. And we heard Chairman Hu was speaking, we need to think green, even with 5G. At the policy level, this merits harmonizing policy and regulatory efforts in collaboration with telecom operators, technology providers, in order to address impediment to 5G adoption and to bring the benefits of 5G to the region, and as our theme today, empower a better Middle East, we need to be perfectly aligned and orient ourselves to sustainability and execute better form of collaboration. With that, I would like to thank you very much for your attention and for your time, and wish you all a great MBBF. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bukhar. Thank you. Thank you, Bukhar, and thank you, Samena, for supporting us and for this remarkable keynote. So indeed, one of the main drivers for the success of 5G in this region is the growth-oriented, future-looking spectrum policy. That's really something we noticed, and the whole world recognizes it as well. So it is very clear that holistic connectivity is important. Very important with different attributes, deterministic experience. But what is it for, and what's beyond that connectivity? It's a lot of other things. We are about to know what are those things, and it's my pleasure to introduce one of the globally recognized operator and also one of the 5G pioneer in the Middle East here. It's my pleasure to introduce Etisalat Group. So also, I would like to welcome to the stage its Chief Strategy and Governance Officer of Etisalat Group. Let's welcome Khalifa Hassan Al-Shamsi.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Good morning, everyone. Great to see a lot of the colleagues here in the room today, from partners into colleagues, into ex-colleagues from all the way from Canada to the East to China. When Huawei invited us to speak at this event, I was thinking, what should we talk about? It's the Mobile Broadband Forum. It's a global event. Do we talk about 5G? Everybody's talking about 5G. It makes sense for us here in the UAE to talk about 5G. After all, this is the fastest country on earth when it comes to mobile broadband speed, and one of the most connected 5G networks. Next door, we welcome you all to the Expo site. It's the most connected piece of land on earth, both from fixed and mobile. But I thought, let's not talk about the generic topics. And honestly, and having Alex Sinclair here, the GSMA CTO, on the room, from the last GSMA event, I went into soul searching about the industry, about where we're going next. The theme of GSMA 2021 was Connected Impact. And I saw even later the theme of 2022, Unleashing Connectivity. So what does that mean? As telcos, of course, we've been focusing on connectivity and broadband, mobile broadband penetration and packages. And of course, all of us has been focusing also in introducing digital services to the mix of the revenue that we have. But what about connectivity? This soul searching that I've been having internally with our strategy team and the rest of the organization at the Etisalat, it's about taking a U-turn and going back to the connectivity that makes the big chunk of the telecom revenue today. Do we give up? Do we just say, well, it's a commodity and it's moving forward? It will be, in decline if there is no more adaptation, or even if more adaptation and more consumption, the rate is continue? No. So my talk today will be focusing on driving the connectivity renaissance. And it's not going to give a solution. It's just a thought-provoking discussion here today. And as I'm sharing it with our executive in Etisalat, I would like to share it also with the bigger community, physically and online. Because I think as an industry, we need to search internally in our souls, in our corridors, in our pipes, in our frequencies in the air. How do we make better value moving forward from our industry? Industry is strong, but as you all know, in the recent years, the core revenues of the telcos is being getting a lot of pressures. So I will try to address this by, remind ourselves of how the world is changing, how our industry is changing. And we'll focus on the meat of the discussion. Is telco must create smart, programmable, personalized, segmented, fully harnessing the technology evolution. And we'll talk about that. What does that mean? What segment will it serve? Which new revenue opportunity it will create? And what do we do moving forward? And we'll close by talking about some of the competencies, 6 competencies that telcos require to master in order to have the right to play and have the right to win moving forward. Otherwise, we will not be existing as strong as we are today. So again, stating the facts, the global GDP is back on growth in 2022. COVID is under control right now, but it's still there, so it did not disappear. As a result of the COVID, we've seen a lot of digitization of industries, not only for us telcos, but for all industries, from governments to retail, into all industry has accelerated their 5 years or 10 years agenda into 6 months and 1 year. And this is great value for us, of course. And of course, there are a lot of transformative technologies, being 5G, edge, cloud, AI, all of these transformative technology, if we harness it in the right manner, we'll be able to create value to our end user, and we'll be able to expand our portfolio. We'll be able also to reduce our own cost in deploying these services. And we don't want to look at ourselves alone. I mean, there are a lot of disruptive competitions out there, so we'll have to keep an eye on it, and we'll have to balance between competing, protecting, collaborating, and partnering. So what the COVID really proved that connectivity is a foundation. It's becoming one of the most basic needs of the human being. It even goes more than the survival and safety that the Maslow has always taught us. Connectivity is overwhelmingly connecting all of these aspects together. We've seen it, how the connectivity played a role in the remote working and in the remote education, and has supported industry to continue working, not from the same office and factory, but even from home. We've seen the continuous consumption demand. I mean, all of us goes back into their chart and they look at the consumption, whether it's for the video entertainment, to gaming, into collaboration apps, and how does that we prevail, I think, in this period. And then also, we're seeing the need for all industries, including ourselves, to be more agile, faster in this deployment. So our industry is also evolving. I mean, we've seen a lot of parts of the world, the separation of infrastructure into the services. It used to be separation and division in the companies. Right now, we're seeing it even more separation in companies, separating the value creation and the focus for growth across the all, and trying to create more value of existing assets, consolidating assets with other players in the same market. And we're seeing the growth and the focus on the services bar. So you'll find infraco type of companies, and you'll find service co type of company. And even in the service co, you'll find focus and zoom of particular areas of business. So you'll find the multimedia business, you will find the commerce type of a business, and the gaming and so on. So this is all, how are we evolving? We cannot just be that single company that service all customers at the same level, and everybody in your marketing department is looking after the full portfolio of all the services across the customer segments. It has to be focused and segmented in order to protect the growth that Huawei have mentioned in the beginning of the presentation. So yes, we're betting big in digital. And Etisalat, from our launch of Etisalat Digital in 2016, we tasted the sweetener from growth into the digital space. And it's been great. And we are moving into a strong double-digit growth contribution of our overall revenue. And as industry, we aspire to go into the 35 and 50% of our revenue mix coming from this new type of ICT and digital type of services. But we're also betting big on connectivity, because we believe connectivity and beyond connectivity, which is the digital solution, it's two sides of the same coin, because you need connectivity to power these digital solutions. And the digital solution will put also more needs and type of services and connectivity for the different type of services and solutions that will be deployed. So a telco being able to put its bet on the two areas, this would be the right area to be. But unfortunately, a lot of the focus and the media is always been on the beyond connectivity, because this is what we lack as telecom. And this is where a lot of our focus and pressure is being on. Maybe we tend to put less focus on the reinventing the way that we look at our connectivity, creating more value of connectivity, and I will address that in the coming slides. So how do we win in connectivity? What is this segmented, programmable connectivity? It's about having different type of connectivity for different segments and for different use cases. It is not the same. It is not that for mobile, you charge by megabyte or by gigabyte, regardless of the use cases. For fixed, it's not that you just charge per speed for it. There are different components, and now with the technology evolutions and advancements, we'll see different variables coming into the picture. So the kind of connectivity you provide for an IoT smart meter with narrowband IoT type of connectivity is different than what you provide for autonomous cars. Be it from reliability of the connectivity that is autonomous car require, from the low bandwidth IoT require, to the high bandwidth gaming would require, to the low latency the gaming and the autonomous car will require. Different type of use cases, different products. Maybe it's the same pipe that provide this, but there's a lot more other type of infrastructure that you have to deploy in order to support this. And the message also to the government and regulator in the room to work with the telecom operator to explore these differences. We cannot just stick in pricing things per gigabyte. We'll have to be open into looking pricing and providing value to the end user, to the industries, based on the value such solution created. And of course, it goes without saying, we will not be able to serve industries. I mean, before we say 4G and 3G is a strong connectivity to power the user connectivity to the internet. 5G is beyond that. 5G, it's powering industries. It's not a mean of communication. You need 5G as infrastructure for countries and industry to thrive. So in order to support this evolution of telecom operator and the new type of segments and products, we'll have to harness the new technology. Be it a cloud-based, on-demand type of model, similar to the internet player, where they're offering things based on on-demand, so the capability has to be there. We'll have to have an approach of a marketplace that people can go and pick and choose and bundle, rather than we ask them to subscribe one by one as the users. NAS, network as a service, is one of the biggest areas telco need to focus on. You cannot just rely on your consumer segments and your business segments to be able to monetize the investment that you have. We've seen the Capex under pressure for telecom operator. So you'll have to create a new segment that uses the network capabilities network as a service. We have a very powerful assets that we can monetize. Maybe we started monetization by opening up our APIs in the past. Maybe the billing API was one of the common one that we started all to be doing. But there's a lot more capabilities in the network that we can open and work with, partner with it, be it industry partner or even ecosystem partner that we'll talk about. As I mentioned also, the 5G, edge, network slicing, all capabilities that we need to harness, that we need to have the right competencies also internally, both from the technical side and the business side, to be able to take this forward. So we believe there are three types of segments that we need to address in this evolution moving forward. We will always have what I call it the vanilla customer. Vanilla customer are almost the biggest chunk of our customer today, be it the consumer or the business. This is our customers today. Why we call it vanilla? Because it's not as sophisticated when it comes to demands for services, and the services that today our customer have probably in the form of bundled. Somebody wants smaller bundle, somebody wants bigger bundle. Somebody will need a smaller speed, somebody wants a bigger type of speed. Maybe the evolutions of the services offering that has happened in the last years is by virtue of bundling our connectivity with non-connectivity type of services. So instead of giving an IoT connectivity solution, we might bundle it with a router, we might provide it with a sensor in the car, and that provide a fleet type of management solution. That's the sophistication that we have done, which is still, from a network component, it's very limited. It's not really addressing. And the improvement that we have done with the support of our vendors, of course, all the enhancement and efficiency, we pass it along to our customer by virtue of, right pricing for the products. And this will remain to be one big chunk of our customer and our portfolio and our revenue. But this is not it. If we stop here, we will not be able to sustain the pressure that we have, that either pressure on price reduction or on size by some of it will be captured by other means that we cannot address. The other vertical or segment is the sophisticated verticals. Now, with the arrival of 5G, we've seen that level of discussion started with the logistics companies of the world, and being in Jabal Ali today, DP World is one of those clients that Etisalat have, that we are in discussion with them about how to harness the advanced technologies in order to service them. In order to do this, though, we will need to have also more insights about that industry. We found ourselves sitting down and talking more with the vertical leaders of logistics, of transportations, in order to understand more what are their demand. Not what their demand in terms of technology, what their demand of their business need, impactful impact that they are trying to get. Sophisticated customer, like in the oil and gas, for example, the ADNOC of the world, the Aramcos of the world, these are sophisticated, big, large enterprise. They have more engineers and more IT personnel than we all have probably combined. So they know what they want. Now, with the technology coming, advancement that allow them for customization of your assets and connectivity will allow for a joint creation of new type of services. And those are the ones that will be working with them in tailoring solutions only for them. And it makes sense because it's large accounts and it's large sites or multiple sites for that one. And this is where you handle a project more like a mega project itself. It's not like a one single shot of package to be sold. What does this require? I mean, when we built our digital team from tens of people to now almost 500 people, it's about bringing people from experts from other industries. When you sit down with oil and gas experts, it's because you want to learn more about that industry. How can we claim knowledge of what will make them tick and improve if we don't know what is their pain points or the opportunity they look after? So this is the second segment. It is not plain vanilla because there's a lot of customization, packaging, slicing, customization that is required, and this will continue to grow with time. Maybe it will start with handful accounts, but it will evolve later on in the hundreds of accounts moving forward. The next one, what I call is the ecosystem partners. And this is, again, this is where we take the NAS from just a single enterprise account, taking the NAS into an ecosystem. Who are the ecosystem providers? And what do you do with them? How do you work with them? So the ecosystem provider could be anywhere from Huawei, for example. Huawei have a large focus on enterprise segments. Today, Huawei will work with telecom operators to address needs of the enterprise, or sometime Huawei might go directly for some of the services to address the enterprise needs. But Huawei is not leveraging on the capabilities of the telco in terms of network and assets. Of course, you can always have private networks or what we call it industrial networks separate, but also more and more for the larger segment, you'll be able to use the network capability, the network as a service components of the telcos in order to work with the Huawei's of the world, Microsoft of the world, the Amazons of the world, in order to be able to reach a larger segment. Does that mean that your business division will be shut down? No. These people comes with assets, capabilities, applications, relations also with the enterprises. And by leveraging the network that you have and the assets that you have, you'll be able to create bigger value for the telcos itself. But again, this is not easy. This requires a lot of capabilities and enhancement in the way we run our business. This is something that we have not done right now, is fully partner with an ecosystem partner. In the past, we used to partner with them on their portfolio, and we do joint go-to-market for it. This is, you are you're opening up more your capabilities in the network in order to tailor-made specific type of solution that they could take it directly to the market, leveraging on the agreements that you have. So again, it is not easy. We require new type of competencies that some of it maybe we had, but at a lower level, and we need to enrich more. So integrating solutions, integrating capabilities. I mean, when Etisalat embarked in some of the complex solution of developing beyond connectivity solution for like the Dubai Parks and Resort or the Expo site, which is sophistication beyond connectivity solution, ticketing, public safety solution, it requires a lot of know-how in system integration, whether you build it, hire, buy system integration in order to be able to play more of this role. And again, I spoke about knowing your customers, know what they want, what makes them tick, what's the challenges, what's opportunity that they have. This is something that we need to do more. Account manager is not the one who follow that enterprise account connectivity, whether it's connected or not, or the SIMs, whether it's activated or not. No, it's transformed the role of the teams that you have is to be subject matter expert of the industry that you're working with. And again, innovating back on the connectivity, and knowing how to customize, how to program the connectivity for different use cases, for different needs, and coupling that with the business model agility. You cannot say, this is my packages, take it or leave it, and this is my standard packages. The old days of 1 packages or 10 packages that fit for the whole industry is gone. It has to be extremely dynamic in designing per customer and per even application that will need to be done. And again, the ecosystem engagement extremely important. We have to acknowledge, in order to thrive and grow in the future, we will not be able to do everything our own. Nobody can do it. Even the larger players globally, they acknowledge they cannot do it alone. They will need the telcos collaboration in the joint go-to-market. And the same manner also will need a lot of the telcos ecosystem partner to be able to continue. And this, of course, have to be coupled with simplifying the way we address our customer, the way we operate, the way we run our network, because after all, it has to be efficient. And this is where a role of technology leader like Huawei can also enable us in order to be more efficient, more agile, more cost-effective when it comes to these solutions. So again, final thoughts to leave. This was not something that we just give. It's about provoking the thoughts, provoking the discussion that you take back home with you. It's about acknowledging that we are a great industry, and the new normal and the pandemic has given us an opportunity to shake on us and wake up and look at our core assets and strength and trying to create value out of that. And we'll have to, when we do it, we'll have to do it with the larger audiences, the ecosystems of the world, from east to west, jointly together, seeing the assets, collaboration. How do we serve the customer better? How do we maintain the innovation in our offering and in our innovations? And as I mentioned, it is not easy. So you have to have the right strategy, have to have the right people in the organization, and the right execution. And I think if we do that, we will continue to prevail as an industry, will continue to be strong. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Khalifa. Shukran. Very nice presentation, and it tells us that although the network is the key, the network is the foundation, cloud is the key, but there are a lot of other things on the table beside 5G, which is the main dish. Those things are technology, innovation, talents, agility in packages, and all of those great things. So we heard from Etisalat how they think and how they believe addressing the enterprise segment, what kind of competencies and what are the things that needed to be there. Why don't we hear from another local leader also, 5G pioneer, passionate and successful operator from the local market? How do they think about transformation and what are the pillars and the need for successful journey for industries? So let's welcome Karim Ben Kiran. He is the Chief Commercial Officer of DO.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Bonjour tout le monde. Assalamu alaikum. So I think we are all pleased today to be together. So finally, after 2 years, we can be proud, we can be very happy to be physically present in one of the best places in the world. So I want to thank the team who worked very hard to make this happen. There are people who did not sleep to make sure that we are all together today and making sure that we can share, all of us, our contribution to the society, to the people, and making the life of our customers much simpler. So now, if we want to achieve that, so is it technology-driven? Are we definitely ready to make sure that we can design the new experience? We can design the new services. We can design the new lifestyle. We are all here. We can align that 5G will definitely help us to have better life and then definitely access to a lot of new services which we did not have a chance to access to before. Now, in DO, we see it as a 360-degree transformation. So if our people, our employees are not ready to design these new value propositions, to design this new experience, we need to make sure that we can elevate, we can make them capable to design the future of our customers. So the culture of our company. So same question, 5G transformation is 360-degree. Culture, people, processes, also our existing back-end system, BSS, OSS, front-end, everything is going to be transformed if we want to deliver these new services, these new business models and value propositions to our customers. So let me start with of course, the context. So COVID definitely raised the bar. So accelerate the digital transformation. So maintain the pressure to make sure that we can come with highly sophisticated solutions. And also we want to make sure that this is, I would say, end-to-end transformation to be ready for the post-COVID. So we see 5G definitely as a driver to take us to the next level. So we have the ambition, we want to be in the race, we want to be number one. So we have high appetite to invest and continue investing on this technology and this end-to-end transformation. So we want to, of course, be more and more open to partnership, and definitely we want to have a completely different operating model, going more agile, and definitely operate in completely different way. So let's look at just few numbers. So week 1 of this year and week 37, so we are growing in our coverage, rolling out our 5G network very fast, and we can see that we are already 61% higher than where we were just a few months ago. So the same on the 5G device adoption. So we can see on the week 1 and where we are today. So we are 235% more than before. So we are going very aggressive in our rollout. We are going definitely more aggressive to adopt devices and get the customer to enable 5G and enjoy the experience and all of that. So now, by also looking to a quick comparison how the migration has happened from 3G to 4G, from 4G to 5G, by just taking the 3rd year. So we did our first shout and our first base station in 2018. So on the 3rd, this is today looking much higher and faster migration to the 5G device. So 3G migration was 8% on the 3rd year, 4G 2.5, and today we are already above the 12%. So back to our leadership. So monetizing the 5G. So we have definitely a lot of advantage, which is the speed, latency, quality of service, and we believe that this is more the hygiene to take us to this new era. So 5G enable operators to create new type of propositions for a new segment, of course, consumer and enterprise. So the size and diversity of use cases and industry solution opportunities are almost bundled. So here we are talking about creating new ecosystem for our customers. So it's not about data, it's not about minutes, it's about use cases which will allow us to innovate in our business models and then create a new ecosystem around our customers. So here on the leadership side, so we are raising few questions. So question number 1, are we seeing 5G as building new access infrastructure or a company-wide transformation? So definitely for us, it's 360 transformation, people, culture, processes, your existing infrastructure, BSS, OSS, front end, and all of that. So how heavy are you investing in OSS, BSS, migration, legacy architecture, and system to service 5G? So we believe that this is necessary in order to go end-to-end transformation. Do you feel customers know why they need 5G, how they access 5G services, or what it can do for them? So we need to be more on the education and making sure that we can get higher and higher adoption. Are you looking at 5G success through cultural change, empowering employee skills and behavior changes? So definitely it starts by our people to make sure that we can create value and change the lifestyle of our customers. So if 5G represents the latest in technology approach, are you upgrading your interface, interaction with customers to drive best-in-class digital experience? So we can see that a lot of open questions in order to make 5G successful. So we believe that we need to go 360 degree. So on the value generation, so here, so we believe that the 5G network transformation is one of the pillars. So serving to build the best outdoor and indoor 5G experience, best-in-class vendors, 5G cell rollout, network benchmarking, and refreshment. So second pillar, 5G proposition and flexible design. So we believe that organization, structure, so need to make sure that we can tailor the value propositions and the new use cases based on the need of our customers. 5G model transformation. Then the adoption of our device, our 5G devices, not only on the high-end side, but there is a massive opportunity on the low-end, mid-end, and of course the high-end. So on the brand and communication, so taking the 5G challenge, providing iterative of continuous 5G communication that drive reliability, reasons to change of buy and new devices connecting to customer needs or existing new experience. So the last pillar is pivoting 5G business model. So I think in the end, so if we want to create a value, we need to have a clear strategy and make sure that we also prioritize and focus, not trying to do everything at the same time. So now we see the 5G as a long journey, and it's interconnected with a lot of areas. So here, so definitely we need to connect 5G strategy story to a different element of the ecosystem. So set the ambition level. So what do we want to achieve? So how much market share we want to achieve? So definitely work hand in hand with the regulator and make sure that we can take the market to the next level all together. So return on investment. So we can invest. We have the appetite to invest, but we need also to make sure that we can return value to our shareholders. Speed to market, so our operating model, the way how we work, the way how we deal with our partners. So it's also another element which is connected to this 360 transformation. So scale, flexibility, simplicity. So the 5G is questioning all the way and the entire ecosystem which we are used to. And of course, taking us from our comfort zone to the non-comfort zone. So devices, so we cannot increase traffic in our network, we cannot monetize if we don't play a key role on the adoption of the new 5G devices. So here we need to play a different role in the value chain in order to get a return on investment. So Definitely, it's governance as well. So 5G is also challenging the way how our companies are governed, how our processes are established, and how we can also take it to completely different way of working and then do things differently in order to serve our customers. So here, definitely the KPIs. We can see today there are lots of new KPIs to measure success, to measure customer experience. So there are the traditional KPIs, traditional way of measurement, but today with the 5G, there are new KPIs which will help us to understand really the experience of our customers, their behavior, and also to predict and innovate on behalf of our customers. So then, in the end, so 5G platform operational capabilities. So as we said, so it's not about so technology and then only, I would say, coverage, but it's also our internal capabilities and ability to move to the next level. So just I will leave you with this takeaway. So look beyond succeeding in the landmark objective of being #1 on a network performance base and ask yourself, are you using the latest 5G access investment to understand customer insight, customer centricity to yield long-term P&L results? So it's more customer-centric, understand customer insight, customer behavior, and tailor new value proposition and new business models in order to serve our customers. If 5G is an advanced connectivity medium, are you transforming your organization around it to the same advanced degree? And thank you very much.
Thank you, Sami. Shukran. Merci beaucoup. That was a great presentation. I like two things that you mentioned, adaptive leadership and the monetization hygiene. I think those are both needed for 5G to be. You mentioned the connectivity, regulation, quick to market, ecosystem, and diversified capability of 5G. We need to adopt it, so we need to change our mind to adopt it. All right, so we heard from operators in Middle East. Now let's fly over to Europe and to hear from one of the operators from Europe. So Elisa has been one of the operators who are successful in consumer-based packages that are, that are experience-based, not volume-based. So successful in LTE and the 5G. So let's hear from them. What are the key elements of experience that are necessary in the 5G era? So it's my pleasure to welcome via video Sami Rajamaki, VP of Network Service, Elisa.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Sami Rajamaki. I work for Elisa. Elisa is one of the biggest carriers in Finland. And today I would like to elaborate a little bit about the data-driven and automated 5G operations that we started in Finland, and open you how are we able to kind of create more value to customer through this operation. I will cover in my presentation some words about Finland and Elisa, a little bit open our thinking behind the winning 5G experience. Then I shortly cover the operations that we are running over 5G. And finally, I will conclude to kind of what we have achieved, what's the value for our customers, what's the value for Elisa in first of all deploying 5G, and then also the automated operations around this 5G. To start from Finland, I think that Elisa is quite a good opportunity to operate in Finland, because Finland is quite unique market in terms of mobile data. We have a very high mobile data consumption per capita. It's much higher than the kind of general average in EU, and the share of mobile broadband users and households using mobile broadband, it's relatively high, 36%. We have also very good cooperation with Finnish authorities in terms of regulation, and this continuous dialogue has helped us to kind of build this mobile data market in Finland. Regulator has early allocated all the frequencies. We have a very nice spectrum allocations on our hands in Finland, starting from the low band frequencies, covering all basic mid-band frequencies and also the C-band frequencies. Also, government and the regulator is driving also technology neutral broadband policy, which helps us in a mobile market as well, because we are able to build 5G for households in rural areas as well. So very nice and attractive mobile market we are having here in Finland and within Elisa. Maybe a couple of figures related to Elisa. I won't go this all through in details, but the kind of annual revenue is a bit less than 1.9 billion euros. We have a leading market position in Finland. We are the second one in Estonia. We have a bit less than 5 million mobile subscriptions and a bit over 700,000 fixed broadband subscriptions and customers. Then we could go a bit deeper and to elaborate our thinking behind the 5G experience, and we have nominated this kind of a winning 5G experience. It consists of several elements. First of all, of course, we need to understand the customer perceived value fully, and we have learned along our kind of trip in 5G, we have learned that customers appreciate the quality, the kind of fluency of their activities and seamless user experience. It's also important that we have a kind of wide selections of different price category terminals and kind of wide selection of different speed tier subscriptions. In order to be able to use 5G smoothly, we should be able to provide wide 5G coverage. We support our kind of quality and building activities by deploying a very high level automation, and we have tried to kind of be first ones in the world, or first ones in the Finland, or first ones in the Nordics to be in piloting and testing different kind of new 5G technologies. Maybe I could open a little bit how do we see that automated 5G operations support our kind of seamless customer experience or winning 5G experience. It all starts from kind of analyzing a massive amount of data. We understand our customers, we understand our non-customers, we understand the usage patterns of the customers. We have different data sources describing our customer types in terms of whether they are white collar workers, blue collar workers, are they living in families, are they single house people and so forth. So we have pretty good understanding on which type of places people live. Of course, we know where our current network is and how it's performing today, we can forecast the traffic growth of the network. So all this, when we automatically analyze and put together, that will create us kind of very data-based analysis, data-based network target state. So we use all this data in order to build a picture which type of network would serve best our customers, as the different angles are analyzed. And this is also done technology neutral way. So we do not only analyze 5G customers, but we also try to understand which customer types or non-customers could be interested in fiber, or which customers could be interested in DOCSIS technology. We are providing all of these, and based on these different technologies, we select two areas to be constructed with 5G. If we go a bit deeper to our processes, when we have selected the areas, we have a fully automated process of kind of building the network. Some parts are still manual, of course. We don't have robots building up the sites. We still use planners in order to validate the pre-results provided by automated tools. But all in all, the main intention has been that we try to deploy kind of zero-touch or planning and deployment mechanisms to our operations. Everything starts from the site selections. When we know the area in which we are building, we select the sites that should be built. We do automatically the high-level planning, and then we do kind of a manual check. Is the high-level plan okay? Maybe a couple of adjustments, and then low-level plans will be implemented the systems. After that, sites will be constructed by our partners and subcontractors. And when site is built up or has been built up, the integration, provisioning, and validation will be fully automated. After the validation, we have the kind of instant optimization of the area. So we have a certain Kpis that are monitored during a couple of weeks, and when all parameters and Kpis are set, we release the area to the kind of long-term optimization. I will talk about the kind of long-term optimization a bit on the next slide. But basically, the basic idea is that we have a kind of connected processes, and these automated processes are inputs for each other. And we try to automate as much of the workload as possible. Then, of course, the building part is one part of the network operations that support customer experience. But that's only one part. By doing a good selection, by implementing the network efficiently, we are able to kind of fill the customer capacity needs. But then we have an ongoing network. Network is up and running, and we are constantly making changes to network. So in order to manage the customer experience for the whole period of the network kind of life cycle, we need to implement the automated operation and optimization in place. We are able to do kind of closed loop optimization when we try to optimize accessibility to network. We can change parameters related to mobility and load balancing. We can automatically tilt our antennas based on the traffic patterns, and we are able to do energy saving actions when there's no additional capacity needed, we can kind of put radios and base stations to sleep. Related to operation of the network, we have fully automated alarm monitoring in place, and we also do plenty of kind of automated ticketing. We are able to send tickets or kind of try to automatically prevent incidents, but also when incident occurs, we are able to automatically route these tickets to our partners that will then try to fix the problems. But all in all, very high percentage of the tickets will be resolved without customer notifying or seeing the difference. So all in all, this goes the automation idea and supporting the customer experience. It goes throughout the whole process. We start from the network kind of high level design and target state. We go through the planning, implementation, and verification of the deployment, and then when we have networking running, we utilize automation during the operation of the network. So what we then have achieved by deploying this automation to our 5G operation. Maybe a couple of highlights. So if we compare the customer satisfaction to 5G customers and non-5G customers, by deploying this 5G first of all, and by using data-driven automation, we have seen that customer net promoter score is much more higher than with non-5G customers, and we are pretty proud of the result. This almost 50 level in NPS is considerably high. We can also see that there's more revenue potential in 5G. We have been able to increase our average revenue per user by deploying 5G. So it is not only that we would be kind of providing better service. Customers are willing also to pay more. And in the network construction part, currently we started the 5G network construction late 2019. Currently, we are covering more than 63% of the Finnish population, and this is mainly from the C-band coverage. So very high capacities is provided for our customers, and we know that the kind of high capacity connections in Elisa mobile network, it's the widest coverage in Finland at the moment. On the operations side, of course, 5G it requires Capex, it requires Opex, so it's important that we can sustainably improve our operations when deploying this. And by help of automation, we've been able to kind of maintain our operational expenditure very stable. We do more than 50,000 automatic operations to our network on a daily basis. So pretty much it couldn't be done by using manual workforce. We are also able to kind of the majority of the incident, as I said already before, we've been able to fix those before customer really sees anything. And if we see from the incident side, for already more than 10 years, we've been able to reduce the number of incidents that customer actually sees. If we see the period of past 10 years, and when we are now moving to 5G or opening the 5G market in Finland, the mobile data traffic has increased more than 40 times in our network, and still we we are operating the network with more or less same amount of Capex and Opex, and the network quality has been stable. Our plans ahead will consist of further develop our data-driven network processes, network operational processes, starting from the high-level planning and deployment and operational optimization. Our mission is to make this operation kind of a zero touch. So all these operations and activities that can be automated will be automated. And the kind of future goal is to then further also towards the kind of software-based network. So we are now also on addition to 5G technologies looking for the different type of Open RAN solutions and software-based solutions also to transport and transmission network. This was my part. I thank you for your interest and wish you a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you, Sami, virtually. So indeed, AI is enriching everything now, the foundational infrastructure, the platform, the service, and eventually the user experience. I think we just need to put the user experience in the middle, and we all dance around it. We all address the user experience. It's really fundamental for everything. But the definition of the user is really different in 5G. It concludes everything. So there are many successful 5G stories in the world. Each one of them has its own character, its own flavor, its own color. So I am excited to hear the 5G successful story from one of the key global operators that operate in many regions, Zain Group. So for that, and without further introduction, let's welcome to the stage Zain Group CTO, Nawaf Al-Gharaballi.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everyone, esteemed guests. Interesting times to be back in public crowds after a few years of digital quarantine. But we are excited to share our story to you and to have some mutual thoughts. Probably we can get out of with positive thinking and positive ideas on how we can elaborate and how we can grow our 5G together. Either operators or vendors and partners and technology leaders. To start with, we have deployed 5G in the beginning of 2020. Actually, we started in end of 2019. Then a pandemic comes in, which changes the whole thinking. So we are really confused. Is it the pandemic? Is it good for the technology or bad for the technology? Is it good for us or bad to us? I think 5G benefited from the push of digitalization that happened across the globe, the push of the government, push of the companies, push of the people that they want to go digital. And I think 5G, ironically, came in the right time. And we were there to be part of that. To start with, we in Zain think probably differently than the technology manufacturers because we're here to serve customers. It's not necessary what technology we adopt, it's what the customer needs that we need to embark on and we need to provide to our customers. That's why we believe that regardless it's 5G, 4G, 6G, 5.5G, the technology should add something to ourselves, to our customers. It should uplift our brand and experience. It should uplift our legacy services or even replace our legacy services. If it doesn't serve the current customer, let it be. 5G should also add new verticals. Verticals that probably add new revenue streams to the organization, enhance societies, or even add features to the critical sectors in the world. Also, new services that needs to be adapted, and this is probably the area where 5G is picking up pace, the gaming, the new to-be services, the AR and the VR, and the 5G home. So when we decided to go for 5G, and I'm talking about mainly a couple of markets, which are Kuwait and Saudi Arabia, because there is our base of 5G deployment. We decided to go full-fledged. We deployed 5G full massive MIMO from day one. And also, we did it very smartly with the support of our partners. Technology, or the race for 5G, was not all about who's first. No, it was all about, can we do it smart this time and remove the errors of the past? Can we do it efficiently? Does it achieve the purpose of it? And all of that within a pandemic phase. So we coupled it with precise planning, and we made sure that although 5G is an access layer, it should complement the whole end-to-end ecosystem of our network. So SRv6 was mandatory for us from a decision point of view. We had to do that. And also from a power and site deployment point of view, 5G added much more complexity on our site deployment, so we had to find another way of optimizing the site deployment. And the whole purpose of that was to achieve a win-win situation between us as a service operator and our customers. So the best quality enabler of our branding, as I said, is the 5G on. And it has, I'll skip the slide, sorry. So the win-win situation that we have achieved is that we enabled the customer to benefit from a real service quality product that appeals to him. Connectivity was there for a very long time. But what was different is that today we can offer a unique service to our customers that will enhance their lifestyle. In Saudi Arabia, we launched the Air Fiber, which is a replacement of fiber connectivity because we are a wireless-only mobile operator. And the other thing that has been achieved is the marriage between the device terminal itself, the ecosystem, the diversified packages, and the attractiveness of the content itself. Because what we have seen is that it is not enough for the customers to get the best device or the best content package. No, it's also the content. And video consumes probably 70 or 80% of our data bandwidth. That's why the technology enabled us to bundle these elements into a unique offering. And also, we don't forget the complexity of B2B. It comes with a unique challenge. The customer itself is different. The requirements are different. And probably sometimes you talk to a different organization in one customer's area, and everyone has its own requirement. For 2B side, we took a different approach. 2B is we start by checking on our capabilities and what we can offer as a service. The second thing is the market analysis, where we can go and where is our strengths are our weaknesses. The business model itself and how to partner with industry partners, and should we go alone? Do we understand the industry? Do we have the technical capabilities, the know-how on to serve the customers? And the final is for the 2B system or 2B customers, it's all about closing the end-to-end loop of services. So you don't only sell the service like the vanilla customers that my colleagues referred to. No, it's all about closing the services loop from selling to operation. So what did 5G achieve to us? As an operation, we have reached almost 450,000 customers on 5G. 40% of our traffic is served on 5G as we speak. And the ARPU has been increased a lot in the areas that. So this is a very positive sign. 5G as a technology adds value to us as an organization, and it uplifts the market for us. This is one point. The second point is that 5G also achieves efficiency when it comes to the price per gigabit or price per bit, which enabled us to give more lucrative offers to the customers. And from a network point of view, we have 93% population coverage in our main two markets, which is the Saudi market and the Kuwaiti market. This is very interesting because, as I say, we went full-fledged. We wanted to be there when customers needed us. And we have an average of 400 megabits per second on average speed. The main focus or the main products that we have is the fixed wireless applications. Of course, as I said, it has an impact on our revenues and our top line and bottom line, and it goes without thinking. And the main two drivers is that market share has been grabbed and ARPU has been increased. Usually in our markets, the fixed wireless, because the penetration of fiber optics is not that mature in our markets, so we managed to grab a high percentage of fixed wireless broadband users. Of course, what's success without acknowledgement? A good thing that Zain Kuwait and Zain Saudi Arabia has been acknowledged in many areas that to be the best and the fast. But this is a sentimental approach to the success, to measure the success of our operation. As Mr. Ken said, putting an eye on the environment is very important these days. Going green is a main focus for us. Zain is part of the Climate Action Act since 2012, and we are really focused on achieving these commitments that we have put on ourselves. What we do is that we try to work with our technology partners to solve the main challenge that we have, the increase of power and CO2 emission with the deployment of a new network layer. We hope that we will achieve our targets within the targeted time frame that we have set to ourselves. Now, this is what we have done. A few thoughts on what would be the future of thinking that we need to probably share with each other. A few years ago, there has been that clash between the IT side and the telecom side, the server side and the connectivity side. Who should lead the future of digital transformation? Talks during the pandemic was all about introducing AI, how fast we can do computing, how connectivity can help us connecting our data centers and achieving the transformation that we wanted to do. Today, we probably need to shift our thinking to a different strategy. Does digital transformation is changing paper to non-paper or introducing apps and services? We don't think so. We think that connectivity will connect the dot between the traditional digital transformation thoughts and the futuristic digital transformation thoughts. But this is a big word. Governments should be involved, organizations should be involved, operators should be involved, and customers need to be aware of the changes that are happening. When we talk about digital transformation, we will leverage on connectivity to create smarter society, safer society, healthier societies to our nations. And from a challenge point of view, these, from my side, are open-ended questions. But I think the forum within these 2 days need to achieve at least a framework or a direction on how to tackle these problems, how to diversify our business models, how to improve our ecosystem, and how to control even our ecosystem and make it more open and agile to developers, how to master our network and have it more efficient and less complicated, and how to improve our operational model. These are the questions probably I will expect to be discussed during these 2 days in the forum. But for us, technology as a 5G added a lot of enablement, but created a lot of complexity. We need to strike a balance between the two spectrums to achieve more efficient service offering to our customers. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nawab. Shukran.
Thank you.
That was Zain Group. So let's fly back to somewhere because our next speaker is from Vodafone. So Vodafone, we all know Vodafone as a key global operator that's always adopting cutting-edge technologies and innovation. But what is Vodafone's Tech 2025? And what is the role of 5G on that plan or perspective? So let's hear via video from the Network Strategy and Engineering Director of Vodafone, Nadia bin Abdallah.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nadia bin Abdallah. I'm the Director of Network Strategy and Engineering for Vodafone. I'm very happy to be here with you today, even if virtually, so I'm very sorry not to be in person. But I am sure we can spend the next 20 minutes together, just as if we were in presence. Now, I want to introduce Vodafone before I start talking about the argument that I have chosen for you today. So Vodafone is a global company. We have 34,000 employees, more than 400 connected devices, greater than 140 million NGM homes connected, and we are present in 21 countries. So I would say a globally scaled operator. Now, like in many other companies, we do have a technology strategy that is a guiding light, a fil rouge for all of us in order to establish the strategy. A strategy that, as I said before, will be a global one. So our ambition is to make sure that customers recognize univocally the strategy of Vodafone moving from one market to the other. In particular, the technology strategy, which we call for the next 5 years, takes 2025, does have all the arguments that regard the various facets of our network. In particular, today, I would like to concentrate on 5G. And what does 5G mean for us, how we plan to implement it, and what it enables in our society today and in the future, but also what it enables for each individual. One thing that I wanted to call your attention to, apart from 5G, is the fact that our strategy encompasses also operating model that will actually enable this strategy. And this, I think, is unusual, but also the culture that will actually make sure that we can fulfill on the promises that we have made to the company and to our customers in our Tech 2025 strategy. Moving forward, naturally, I am very proud of the fact that we have been the first to launch 5G in many of our markets, and I want to cite here a few of them. But in particular, we are present in 243 5G cities in Europe. I would say quite a successful endeavor. And this has allowed us to actually continue to deliver on our promise to the end customer to always bring quality and innovation first, many times in the market, in order to either be best or co-best with our competitor. Now, I don't want to go into the details of each of them, but naturally, when I talk about our position in the market, I'm referring to internationally renowned company, independent company, making these tests. Now, 5G is for us, of course, the evolution of our existing 4G. But in particular, when we talk about 5G, for us, it's very important to build 5G right, because 5G needs to bring enhancement in terms of perceived quality from the customer's perspective, but also enhancement in terms of enablement of new capabilities. And in particular, looking at the most important assets that we have in the network, which is our spectrum, we need to make a best use of those assets to make sure that we are successful in delivering on that promise. Naturally, the low band will deliver our coverage nationwide, will allow us to actually penetrate into the houses, and so will allow us to have absolutely seamless connectivity. But with the limited spectrum available, naturally, it will not provide the top speed and the capacity that is required to scale. The mid-band complements our low band and is a good balance between coverage and capacity. It will be useful to complement our metropolitan coverage, but also extends to our suburban areas. And finally, the big novelties of 5G is the new spectrum that we have available, the 3.5 Gigahertz Spectrum, which will actually allow us to deliver on greater capacity, greater speed, and naturally being at a higher band, a lower, I would say, footprint, so a shorter, let's just say, transmission range. We will typically use it in the metropolitan area and in hotspots. In the future, we will target the 6 gigahertz band, which we see as a very important one for our future capacity needs. Right now, the lower part of that spectrum, so more or less 500 megahertz of that band, has been used by Wi-Fi players, and there's available another 700 megahertz in the upper part, which we believe is ideal across Europe for network operator to actually have a evolution, the possibility to evolve our capacity beyond 2028 and 2030. Now, let's look at 5G from the perspective of our customers and our investors. What do they expect from us in order to see if we are fulfilling our promises? So they need high speed to enable certain use cases, both for consumer and enterprise. And with the advent of massive MIMO and the high spectrum, we will be able to respond to that demand because we will be able to enhance our speed by 10. So we will be 10 times faster than 4G. They want low latency to enable certain application. Our new 5G core, 5G SA, with network slicing and also complemented by edge capability. So with MEC, we will be able to actually deliver absolutely real-time latency. High reliability is offered, requires many aspects. Obviously, we need to have full coverage. Obviously, we need to have excellence in operation to maintain stability of a network. But also reliability through new capabilities for certain enterprise use cases. For example, network slicing. Network slicing will actually offer dedicated resources end-to-end for critical applications that require particular security criteria or stability or a particular quality of service to actually fulfill and deliver successfully that specific application. Broad coverage. Broad coverage is obviously fundamental, because if you offer coverage only in metropolitan area and leave the rest of the population, that would not be satisfactory, neither to our customer or our investors. And that we can offer through our low-band spectrum, which I mentioned before, because that will give really deep coverage into those houses. And then Capex and Opex efficiency. Of course, this is important for us because efficiency can fuel the investment to continue to evolve and innovate in our network. And that is usually offered, and this time is true again, through the adoption of the newest technology. And in this case, with the adoption of 5G as a complement to 4G, we will be able to have a 4 to 5x lower cost per gigabyte with respect to 4G. So we're delivering also on that requirement for our customers and our investors. Now, moving forward, I want to say that thankfully, we have been successful in our endeavor. So it's not all about promises, but it's about seeing if those promises gets delivered and gets noticed by the market. So I'm proud to say that in April 2021, Germany was the first market in Europe, not just in Germany, to actually launch 5G standalone. And I will show some use cases later on. And this with the 3.5 gigahertz spectrum that I have mentioned before, and the 5G standalone core. And we were able, obviously, to bring it to the market and announce it to the press. December 2020, we have also demonstrated our spirit of innovation, signing a deal with AWS in order for MEC, so for an edge, in our endeavor to innovate in the business environment. In July 2020, Vodafone UK announced its trial on 5G SA slicing with some specific use cases, in this case in Coventry University. And this was a 5G standalone core using the spectrum I have just mentioned, with a slice dedicated to the use case of the university. And by the way, last week, UK won the 5G Innovation Award for the launch of 5G SA, first in the market in the UK, but also for the new use cases, innovative use cases that it delivers and it enables for the future. And on June 2020, still in the UK, we have actually announced a 5G MPN SA in collaboration with Ford Vehicle, a use case that we have in Industry 4.0 to speed up the electric battery production. So these are some recognitions that we have been able to announce and get that recognition thanks to the fact that we have defined a strategy and we have been able to deliver successfully on that strategy, fulfilling the criteria that our customers and shareholders expect from us. Now, it's important before I go to the next section, which will address the use cases, I tell you why I'm talking about use cases, because while when we deployed 2G, 3G, and 4G, the most important aspect was really bringing coverage, because we needed basic broadband capabilities. We needed broadband capabilities brought to the end customer. When we talk about 5G, we talk a lot more about what enables for us as individual, what enables for the business in terms of its evolution, in terms of really total transformation. And that is much more relevant than in the past. And you will hear a lot more about use cases than about percentage population coverage when we talk about 5G. In this case, I wanted to bring a use case that you have for sure seen in the press. It's a collaboration between Porsche and Vodafone in Germany, where basically Vodafone has activated a slice on the 5G standalone core in order to allow, with naturally very short RTT in real time, exchanges between vehicle to vehicle and vehicle to devices. And this has been naturally a successful innovation, and we will evolve it in the future in order to provide some development linked to real-time communication between devices, which basically will also allow us to have a preventive connotations, because the vehicles will be able to speak to traffic light, to speak to objects, and to speak to other vehicles. Maybe they can also avoid accidents. We will be also collaborating with in this context in order to develop cloud gaming or augmented reality, and naturally integrate 5G into the cars in the future. Now, moving forward to other use cases, because really, when it comes to use cases, only our imagination is the limit. I mean, once you have the technology in the ground, the enabling capabilities, really, the use cases are exponential. And this one is the UK Power Network. The UK Power Network, in particular, we worked with them in order to deliver the constellation. And basically, we connected the substations between each other, and to allow for fast communication. Here also, we have instantiated a secure slice. And this should allow to be more efficient in the future to deliver on the carbon footprint promise, and to leave some space for more clean energy, to have more electrical car connected in the future. And we're looking at this in terms of evolution, to have a more flexible and dynamic response to the changes into the electricity network or future demand. And we will be, of course, also working on smart energy grid with real-time capability in order to respond automatically to those changes. Now, moving forward to other use cases, I can mention another one in Spain. And this one is in the context of the project sponsored by the Ministry of Economic Affairs in Spain. And here, working with the refinery, Cepsa, we have activated 5G and an IoT solution on 5G for various use cases: remote connectivity, monitoring of vehicles, wearable devices on employees, tracking pump vibrations, monitoring to see if there are some particular changes. So looking at a number of Industry 4.0 activity to optimize the production process and to have a better control of the refinery. And we will evolve these use cases in the context of this collaboration to augmented reality for performing maintenance on some machine. Maybe you don't need or you don't have at that moment a specialized person. With the augmented reality, you're able to actually perform some activities, and also 5G connectivity to power sensors to monitor with integrated AI to improve and learn. Moving forward, this is another one in Spain. It's a nice one where we have a collaboration with the civil guards using an AirTech solution. Basically, we have an unmanned, sorry, not unnamed, unmanned, so a plane that doesn't have a person piloting it, airplane with the 5G connectivity that will transmit very high quality images in real time, and that will allow us to actually work on some recovery after an accident of maybe a survivor or things of that sort. So this is an important collaboration for emergency search and rescue activities supported by the 5G connectivity. And we will be working with Red Cross using these vehicles. Now, this is a slightly different one, moving to Italy, where we have a 5G IoT for agricultural supply, to track the agricultural supply. In this case, we are tracking the full life cycle, okay, with connected sensors to monitor and to manage the journey of the bread, all the way from the crop to the bakery, to optimize from a time and production perspective, but also with AI in order to learn. I mean, did I put too much water? Did I put not enough water? Was it the right time? Is there anything I can do to optimize the process to get my material first where it will be processed, etc. So in order to help in this agricultural endeavor. Now, I cannot speak about 5G without also speaking about convergence. And we were born a mobile operator. We became a fixed operator through acquisition or organic growth. It depends on the market. And now it's very important that we are, I mean, I don't want to say become, because we have still done a lot until today, and we still have a lot to do, a convergent operator. This is a very important endeavor for all of us that have access fixed and mobile. And I'm not talking about convergence because we are maybe using only the same transmission, or convergence because we are offering the same application. I'm talking about convergence wherever there is an opportunity. So looking, for example, at some example I have given here is Converge Core, which will allow us obviously to give a consistent, facilitate the delivery of consistent application across fixed and mobile, but also the same feel and like. I mean, for example, the possibility to have the same policy across fixed and mobile, the possibility to authenticate once and have access indiscriminately and transparently to the customer, to fixed and mobile according to the cases, but also the possibility in an intelligent manner to use the bandwidth. For example, my network on the fixed every day, an example at 7 o'clock, is congested without the customer having to intervene, having the smart possibility to combine fixed and mobile in order to augment that bandwidth and give a seamless performance to the customer. Obviously, Converge Mac, the possibility to have to share processing power. Or let's not forget the complementarity of 5G FWA with respect to wireline, where it makes sense because it's difficult to bring to the end customer the fixed line, at least in the immediate time. So looking at the convergence from all perspectives in order to give the customer really a seamless experience across fixed and mobile, and give the best of both. And make sure that the customer doesn't even realize there's a network behind the content or the application that they are consuming. Now, I want to summarize for you the most important aspect that qualify for us the strategy for 5G. So 5G is at the heart of our Tech 2025 strategy. It's a very important component. Obviously, it's not the only one, but this is a very important evolution, an important enabler. That doesn't stop just at 5G. It's an important enabler for everything else it will allow us to deliver. It is a reality today, and we are expanding it. And we do believe it's important to build 5G right, to make use of all the spectrum that we have available. Obviously, building 5G right is a longer story than just a spectrum, but I concentrated here on making sure that we do have a best use of what I consider to be the most precious asset that we have as mobile operator. 3.5 gigahertz is key in order to show really the differentiation that 5G brings. And in the future, we do expect that 6G will complement our 3.5G assets. 5G is not just speed. It's important. It's a lot more. It brings a lot more capability and flexibility that allows us to actually pinpoint and fulfill the needs of our customer, consumer, and enterprise. We believe that it will completely transform our society. And very often, I need to remind my audience, customers, that an aspect that is very important of 5G is latency. Latency maybe can be even, for many, many use cases, more important than speed. So capitalizing on the full capabilities of 5G will bring, is bringing now, and we continue to evolve and bring more capability in the future. Now, 5G core, MEC, network slicing on our new 5G core, private networks, so MPN, are key enablers that we have developed, we are developing, and to enable our customers. Vodafone naturally doesn't work alone. It works with partners. And together, we are developing 5G use cases, innovative 5G use cases that we will continue to communicate across Europe, and that we believe and hope will really bring the positive changes and the positive improvements that we expect in our society. And finally, convergence. Convergence is important, it's increasingly important, in particular as we evolve our network and have multiple fixed technology, multiple mobile technology, and being able to keep convergence at the heart of that strategy. And we believe that the 5G core is also an important enabler to deliver on the promise of convergence in the future. And with that, I would close. I hope I was clear, and I hope you have a good day today following this session. Thank you.
Well, certainly that was clear. Thank you for sharing the roadmap for innovations for Vodafone. I like the last line. Conversion is at the heart of transformation. Converge infrastructure from complex to simple, automation, will reduce the power consumption, greener future, and all of those things. So thank you so much, Nadia. So now we heard from Huawei, vendor, industry organizations. We've heard from rich experience from different operators. So now this is about the time we hear from regulatories. I have here for you the president of Greece Telecommunication Regulations, and he will talk to us about the innovation in regulation and how to have the growth-oriented and future-looking policy in spectrum, and also how to rethink infrastructure and how to enable innovation. So let's welcome Kostas Maselos.
Good afternoon. It is really great to be among you today, and I would like to thank the organizers for having me here as a speaker, and I would also like to congratulate them for organizing this great event. Well, it comes as no surprise that the topic of my talk will be 5G, but still I believe 5G is a very challenging topic to address in a short speech, because a lot of things we have read about 5G, a lot of things we have heard about 5G, still miss critical components to allow us to understand how 5G technology will be positioned in our journey towards the future. I'm pretty certain you have heard hundreds or maybe a lot of definitions about 5G, but I would like to repeat two definitions I like more about 5G. First, 5G is a mobile technology that has to do more with what surrounds our mobile phone and less our mobile phone itself. Second, 5G is a paradigm shift on how we plan and deploy radio networks. It's about rethinking infrastructure. It's about prioritizing quality in planning and deploying networks. When we talk about 5G networks deployment, the first step is allocating spectrum to operators to start planning and deploying their networks. 5G is more spectrally efficient than 4G for a given frequency band, and it is more spectrally efficient in an evolutionary way. We pushed a lot of spectrum and different bands, diverse spectrum in the 5G specification in order to achieve higher data throughputs. So step number one in 5G network deployments is allocating spectrum through spectrum auctions. In December 2020, in Greece, we ran the 5G spectrum auction, a project run in collaboration between the Ministry of Digital Governance of Greece and the telecoms regulator, EETT, us. And I would like to take the opportunity and discuss with you the principles and the key points of our spectrum auction design, which can be identified under three pillars. Our vision to promote long-term return of investment, second priority to incentivize investments, and third priority to enhance competition. So our strategy was to, and our vision was to focus and target mid to long-term return of investment through 5G network deployment. 5G network deployment is a capital-intensive project. So what we wanted to do with our auction was to reduce upfront costs to a reasonable level for our operators so that they have the capital to deploy fast 5G networks and target the mid to long-term investment. To do this, we adopted two key measures in our spectrum auction design. One, to keep spectrum valuation at reasonable levels. We did extensive benchmarking, we evaluated different models, and we believe we calculated reasonable reserve prices. This was number one. Number two, we derived a flexible payment approach for spectrum successful bidders. So we gave them the opportunity to pay 30% of the bidding price upfront and the rest in 7 installments afterwards, starting 3 years after the completion of the auction. This means something like 10% per year in a 10 years period. And more than that, installments were not of equal size, but increased over the time. So we tried to implement a kind of pay for spectrum as 5G network grows. Of course, it is critical to incentivize investments. I said 5G is a capital-intensive project. Successful 5G network planning can be achieved only if all spectrum components are there. So if all spectrum components are secured. And this, except from making planning more efficient, also creates stability for investment. So our decision was to go for a multi-band auction. In one step, we auctioned spectrum in 700 megahertz, 2.1 gigahertz, 3.5 gigahertz, the important C-band, and 26 gigahertz. Because we thought this is the best way for the successful bidders to go. More than that, we extended the license duration from the originally foreseen 15 years period to plus 5 years, so in a sense, 20 years period for spectrum license rights. This further creates stability for investments. We all know that spectrum auctions play important role on the competition in mobile markets. So making sure that high levels and good quality of competition is secured in our mobile market was also a priority. We wanted to reduce barriers and remove any barriers for new entrants, from potential new entrants. And we offered reduced coverage obligations for them, as well as national-wide roaming from existing MNOs for them. And more than that, in our spectrum auction itself, we hard-coded provisions of a framework for introducing mobile virtual network operators. We have seen that the model of mobile virtual network operators can increase competition and has been successful in different markets. And from investment point of view, it is much easier for an investor to try an MVNO instead of a traditional vertical operator with infrastructure. So, in our spectrum auction, we foresee the obligation that successful bidders are obliged to support the introduction of MVNOs. And if commercial agreements cannot be reached, it's the Telecoms Commission that will resolve the case through a dispute resolution process. We did more than that to ensure a high-quality competition in our mobile market. We defined upper limits for spectrum to be allocated to a single MNO. So this means that we want to have adequate spectrum, but for adequate number of mobile network operators in our market. And very important, the infrastructure sharing, a very important policy to reduce network costs and speed up deployment. At the same time, infrastructure sharing may create issues with regards to competition, so we need to be careful. We came up with an approach that is friendly to infrastructure sharing, aligns well with the European Electronics Communication Code, but at the same time, we consider competition issues. More specifically, we allow passive infrastructure sharing everywhere, and our Commission needs only to be notified about such agreements. Active infrastructure sharing is treated in the same way for rural areas. So active infrastructure sharing is promoted for rural areas. Active infrastructure sharing in suburban and urban areas need to be considered carefully because it may create competition issues. So our Commission will have to examine such cases and approve them before being implemented. When the spectrum allocation process is completed, the next step is the 5G network development itself. And I have to tell that EMF issues are quite important with regards to network deployment and may impact the time frame and the cost of 5G networks. 5G is more about addressing health and safety issues than the speed of our mobile phone, but still we see in many countries skepticism around 5G as a technology and maybe the negative impact it might have in our health. Of course, these are legitimate concerns, but in many cases they are amplified by uninformed, partly informed and careless public speaking on what 5G is and what 5G can do wrong for our health. 5G is a technology to be introduced at scale, and with these kind of technologies, we need to stay practical, and staying practical means that we have to understand why do we have all these concerns around 5G. To its very core, I believe the reason we have this skepticism around 5G is because non-users, in many cases, are exposed to radiation, to EMF, to radio links, because of somebody else's convenience, regardless the fact that this might be a zero-risk radiation or may cause nothing bad to our health. And this mostly reflects the network structure we see today, with very large antennas, 15 to 50 meters high, with very high power, capable to penetrate buildings, even sensitive buildings like hospitals and schools, and to cover large areas. But this is not the case for 5G. On the contrary, 5G is a technology that itself offers capabilities that can address health issues and may create safer radiation environments compared to what we have today. For example, what if we deploy hyper-dense networks based on small cell antennas, having their radiation lobes focusing on the street plane while creating safe, almost radiation-free, non-public areas? What if we exploit MIMO beam steering to have the radiation focused only on the real user of the radio link instead of uniformly distributed to everybody in a street plane? So 5G itself offers opportunities for us to live in a safer radiation environment. 5G is less about our phone and is more about our business. And our business requires high network availability and low latencies and less bulk data transfers. Connected cars most probably will revolutionize transportation, not because they will be able to stream videos in the back seats, but because they will be capable to be connected throughout a route to allow predictable latencies in our life and to provide a wealth of data which can be combined with geolocation data and give us very useful information. And all that will be made possible by vehicle-to-vehicle and vehicle-to-infrastructure connectivity, again, a matter of quality of the network. Industry 4 will change how we build things, because 5G will enable fiber-like connectivity for high-end machinery in industries, in manufacturing, like high-end robots, which will be connected and capable of moving inside the industry or even outside with no limitations, adding in a flexible way workforce when and where is needed. If we say that artificial intelligence will revolutionize different sectors of our life, maybe all sectors of our life, we are maybe probably right. Today we have AI and deep learning technology that maybe is not artificial general intelligence already, but allows us to process in an efficient way multidimensional data sets that look chaotic, and through this processing of multidimensional data sets extract very useful information. And for example, handle street traffic per car, or prevent food waste through the whole food supply chain. So in this AI world, 5G can be the link that transfers truncated, spatially distributed data from many different sources to the AI of choice for further processing. Going to the end and trying to wrap up my speech, let's have a look at the future very briefly. In 5G, what else we need? We need 5G applications in our real economy, in transport, in tourism, in industry. We need revenue as an economy from 5G. We need the production of more competitive products and services using 5G. We need the development part combined with the consumption part of 5G technology. And if I would define a KPI for this, I would say that for every gigabyte we consume, for example, watching a movie in our mobile phone, we should produce at least 1 gigabyte to be integrated in a product or a service. A gigabyte in a 5G corridor, a gigabyte that communicates the history, cultural, and artistic wealth of our countries, a gigabyte for lighting or parking management in a smart city that saves energy, saves fuel, saves man-hours. 5G has still a long way to go and has not reached its full potential by any means. For example, consider the higher millimeter wave bands. This evolution will keep going towards 5.5G and will allow enhanced broadband mobile speeds, maybe towards 20 gigabits per second, also smaller latencies towards 5 milliseconds, and higher availability of 5 nines, I mean 99.999% availability. And we will, towards 5.5G, we will see AI integrated to the network more and more, and this will allow us to move from the network of everything to the intelligence network of everything. And this evolution will run in parallel with research for the next generation mobile wireless technology, the 6G. As with 5G, the trends will be similar: increased bandwidth, increased coverage, increased volume of data. And lessons learned from 5G and the challenges will be again similar: identifying industrial use cases, handling the coverage and mobility issues for millimeter wave, and uplink performance, for example. To be on board with 6G, we need to develop strategies focusing on the development of resources, intellectual property resources, and human resources for 6G in areas like telecommunications, microelectronics, photonics, and software. And from a regulation point of view, always the objective is to support innovation and the creation of new business models. I would like to close my presentation by repeating one of the main messages. The way we plan and deploy 5G networks matters the most. It's about prioritizing quality in planning and deploying infrastructure. And in my opinion, this will be the case also for the next generations of mobile wireless technologies like 5.5G and 6G. And with this, I would like to thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Costa. So I like your wrapped up sentence. It's really important, but if I may add something, it's the quality and the efficiency are needed. By 100% agree with you on the role of the regulation in the mobile industry. All right, so now we're down to the last presentation of the day one keynote. I know that some of you may be hungry. I'm hungry too, but I'm even more hungry to know what is going to happen after 5G, 5.5G, or what is it that's going to happen. So Huawei, last MBB forum, we released our strategy and vision for 5.5G. What are the extra use cases? We all know, and I've seen Huawei thoughts about this hexagon and the addition of 3 more use cases. Well, today, and now we're bringing the same Huawei executive. But today, he will not just talk about 5.5G, he will let us know what are the 10 mega trends in mobile industry in the next 10 years. Mobile 2030. What is it? How it is going to look like? What are the values to the whole world and the whole industry? So, without further ado, let's put our hands together to welcome via video Huawei Executive Director of the Board and Chairman of ICT Infrastructure Managing Board. Let's welcome Huawei's David Wang.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to Mobile Broadband Forum this year. The world has faced many challenges over the past 2 years, but we have continued to meet them together. The mobile industry in particular has helped many, especially with 5G. 5G has been developing rapidly. Over the 1.5 million 5G base stations have been deployed around the world, powering 176 commercial 5G networks. There are currently more than 500 million users that have upgraded to a 5G experience. The more than 1,000 5G devices that have been launched worldwide are key to diversify 5G services. 5G is truly changing both industrial production and our lives. So today, let's first talk about personal communications. Mobile videos are clearer and smoother, and 80% of all mobile video watch is now HD. HD video buffer times have been shortened from 3 seconds to a half a second, reducing interruptions. Mainstream VR resolution has also doubled over the last year. We can clearly see 5G is upgrading user experiences, and immersive HD communications are here to stay. On the other hand, in industry production, digitalization is affecting more scenarios and enterprises. With over 10,000 innovative pilots across multiple industries, GSA has identified over 250 types of the modules and devices that are now in use for the industrial purpose. 5G-based digital applications are increasing production efficiency, quality, and operational safety, while also reducing costs. And these challenges are just the beginning. 3 decades ago, Huawei aimed to put a telephone in every home. 10 years ago, we wanted to expand the network access to every corner of the world. Now we have decided to work together to bring digital to every person, home, and organization for a fully connected, intelligent world. As part of our mission, we have proposed the Intelligent World 2030. We believe by 2030, the mobile internet will be completely transformed. The digital and the physical worlds will be more deeply integrated, creating near real-life experiences. The digital economy will also become a primary driver of the real economy. And industry will shift focus from device efficiency to decision-making efficiency. But these advances will also need us to achieve intrinsic network security and improved energy efficiency to protect the environment through green growth. Mobile network will be an important part of the Intelligent World 2030. Here are the 10 trends we believe will help us make the world a reality. The first trend will be 10 gigabit per second experiences. AR and VR are already creating better simulated experiences. But the future will have virtual experiences that are even more real, more interactive, and more immersive. These advanced services will provide more channels for interaction between the virtual and the physical world. With other new technologies like the holographic imaging, the virtual world may even become more convenient than the physical world for many situations. Mobile network will be able to provide on-demand experiences that expand what we can see, hear, smell, and touch from everywhere in the world. In the future, we will be able to see doctors in our own homes and even try on clothes virtually. This will also expand interpersonal communications. This advancement through will require mobile networks with higher bandwidth, lower latency, and systematically organized information transfers. This means millisecond latency for smooth real-time interactions. It's this 10 gigabit per second bandwidth that will be able to enable immersive 16K 6D experiences that bridge the virtual and the physical world. The second trend will be a rapid increase in IoT connections. There will be over 100 billion scene-to-scene connections that will reshape the digital society. So far, Narrowband IoT has connected nearly 300 million scenes, but its maximum capacity is still limited. NR can provide the large bandwidth needed, but it's still not cost-effective enough for most scenarios. IoT connections are already increasing, and requirements are rapidly diversifying. This creates many different connection speed requirements that need to be clearly categorized so we can meet them more precisely. There are also many new capability requirements emerging as IoT develops. Wireless IoT is quickly becoming an internet of the zero latency in industries like the healthcare and manufacturing that need huge uplink capacity, low latency, and high reliability. In other scenarios like logistics and environmental monitoring, devices also transmit small amount of the data, but will need to be on standby for several years at a time. In such cases, we need a new form of the wireless IoT that features ultra-low power consumption and a passive connection. Despite all these different needs, a single powerful network will be needed to integrate all IoT connections across all scenarios. The third trend will be an increased integration between different network coverage methods. Today, 3 billion people still have no internet. Mobile networks are often more efficient and powerful in the densely populated areas, but satellite provide more economical coverage in the less densely populated areas. By combining satellites and mobile networks, we will be able to cover 100% of the globe. Importantly, this will also create 3D coverage for the near-ground space, making communication and control possible for the aerial vehicle like drones and planes. Ultimately, this will further bridge the digital divide. Over mobile networks, advanced cellular technology can be used for the satellite communications. For example, multiple antenna and radio multiplexing technologies can improve the satellite coverage and the spectrum efficiency. From the industry perspective, satellite communications can also be delivered using existing mobile industry ecosystem, letting them tap into the mobile market huge install base. To bridge together satellite with ground-based network, we must integrate network protocols, spectrum, and devices. We believe the MT industry chain will quickly help bring down the cost of satellite devices. The fourth trend we see is the integration of sensing and communications technologies, creating brand new applications for mobile networks. We expect autonomous driving to be fully commercialized within the next decade, but we will also need more advanced sensing capability to improve object and movement recognition. Integrated sensing and communications will also be widely used to manage lower altitude delivery drones. Bringing together these two classes of technology will allow us to dynamically generate multi-dimensional digital maps of the physical world. By integration radio interfaces, both the sensing and communication services can be provided efficiently over the same radio frequencies, allowing the resource to be flexibly multiplexed. Through architecture integration, we will also be able to standardize sensing processes and data flow interfaces. We will need higher resolution sensing to expand sensing applications. Ultra-wideband with massive MIMO can achieve the centimeter level sensing. multiple site collaboration of the cellular system and intelligent high-resolution algorithms can also be used to expand the sensing scope and provide continuous sensing without blind spots. The fifth trend is the increase in intelligence that we are seeing in the industry. With AI, mobile networks will be capable of the level 5 autonomous driving to support automated O&M, optimize the performance, and a smaller carbon footprint. At the same time, AI computing will become an inherent service carried by mobile networks. Future networks will receive intent-driven adjustment policies. Their base stations will then report the information they detect about themselves and their surroundings in real time to generate digital twin models. This will allow network performance self-optimization to gradually replace manual, experience-based optimization. This will particularly benefit industry. Radio interfaces, which are the most complex part of the wireless network, will also have their own native intelligence. Intelligent radio construction algorithms will provide more flexible models for channel, spectrum, and code word scheduling. Ultimately, this will improve the performance and energy efficiency by 50%. Trend number 6 will be the emergence of the capable current network. In a fully connected digital world, network traffic will grow 100 times over. We cannot afford to let network energy consumption increase at the same rate. Energy consumption must be considered at all levels to create green networks that have the 100 times of higher energy efficiency per bit. In the future, energy efficiency will be as important as performance in base station equipment. Thankfully, new materials and technologies will be able to reduce the basic energy consumption. Similarly, at sites, energy efficiency will require more simplified designs. For example, BBUs can be installed centrally, and simplified outdoor sites can be deployed to avoid installing cabinets. We predict that these two measures alone can effectively improve energy conversion efficiency to over 95%. Now, when it comes to the networks, intelligence will drive the world with bits. Near field network will allow sites to be deployed closer to user, reducing the network transmit power. AI brains will optimize the use of the network deep sleep states, reducing energy consumption without affecting user experience. 27 will be increasing spectrum demand. We expect DOU to reach 600 gigabytes by 2030, with over 50% of the world traffic to be carried over cellular network, and 20% of the home broadband services carry over WTTX. More spectrum resources will be needed to meet this demand. An average of the 2 gigahertz of additional bandwidth will need to be allocated in the sub-100 gigahertz range. In addition, we will need the full 20 gigahertz band to be allocated for the millimeter wave. We will need to further develop the existing spectrum bands and work with the industry to define and allocate new spectrum. Different spectrum bands have different characteristics. By combining the sub-100 gigahertz bands with a discrete spectrum continues to be a challenge. For example, lower bands offer the wide coverage but the lower bandwidth, while higher bands are ideal for the traffic hotspots. It will be up to the operator to redefine how we use the multiple spectrums to maximize the spectrum value. With the construction of the multiple band channels, we can increase the spectrum efficiency tenfold. Trend 8 will be an increased focus on the multiple antenna technologies to reduce the bit cost. Sustainable and healthy wireless network will need more cost-effective data transmissions. Multiple antenna technology are already helping us reduce the per-bit transmission costs. So all we need now is broader adoption. By 2030, these multiple antenna technologies will likely to be used on every spectrum band. With the evolution of the multiple band to 5G, ultra-wideband modular antennas based on the metal materials will be able to flexibly combine hardware and software across multi-band modules. This will make it possible to deploy the bands below and sub 100 GHz on the same module and greatly simplify site configuration. With more advanced intelligent reflecting surfaces, we will be able to begin applying multiple antenna technologies in more scenarios. This includes cloud-based multiple antenna deployment with glass reflectors for distributed deployment and performance coordination. Moreover, generalized multiple antenna solutions will reduce transmission costs hundreds of times over. Trend 9 is the increasing importance of security for the digital transformation. In the future, simplified service security will be needed to achieve not only integrated protection at the network element layer, but also one-click threat handling at the network layer and one-stop service at the application layer. Secure and resilient mobile networks will require both intrinsic device security and intelligent and simplified security at the network layer. Intrinsic device security lays the foundation for stronger protection and a higher efficiency even as the network complexity increases. Intelligent and simplified security costs one-stop threat handling, including automatic recognition, detection, orchestration, and response, and improves O&M efficiency. Altogether, this provides more reliable, simplified services directed to industry to promote the digital transformation. Finally, Trend 10 will be deepening convergence of the device, hubs, and the cloud for advanced computing. Mobile network will have to become the mobile computing network. Currently, MEC is used to improve experience and deployment for XR, cloud gaming, and certain 5G2B use cases. By 2025, XR will be more interactive, and industrial operational technology will be more digitalized. Computing will rely on APIs to achieve the real-time collaboration. By 2030, the tactile internet, metaverse, and high-speed mobile V2X will need more than a single service model for its digital platform. So, networks and computing will need to be seamlessly connected and provide high-quality, uninterrupted, on-demand services. A mobile computing network will allow an operator to flexibly enhance the service experiences and develop new business models that integrate computing and network services. Furthermore, a mobile computing network will significantly improve the service efficiency across all industries. That's it for me today. Thank you. We are moving toward an intelligent and a digital world. The next decade will be the time to unleash the power of the mobile network. Huawei looks forward to working with industry to jointly define the future of the mobile network and build a better intelligent world.
Thank you so much. So now you see Huawei Vision in the next 10 years. And it's not a secret. If Huawei say that, then that's why we spend 12 to 15% from our R&D and those stuff. So now you know some of the things that are cooking in the Huawei kitchen, R&D kitchen right now. That's it for today's keynote, but the day is not over. You have Huawei Innovation Land, you have your special tours, round tables, etc. So please enjoy First, lunch. Second, coffee. Third, enjoy your tours. I will see you tomorrow morning. Stay safe and healthy, everyone.